speaker is Wilm Wilm is going to give us a very personal narrative of what his family endured in Germany. Wilm was born in Mannheim, Germany in 1932. He stayed there until 1948 and came to the USA, moved to Louisiana, Missouri. He flourished. He earned a PhD in chemistry. He worked at IBM for 42 years. And he's still working on an automated, what is that design? I can't read it.
Design of computers.
Design computer. Okay, so he's really brilliant. We're lucky to have him in this country. So I'd like to invite Bill up to talk about what his family endured in Germany while we're talking about tyranny.
I feel very honored to speak here and to be invited here by Judith. And I enjoyed very much the talk by Dr. Victor Trey. And I hope to give you a little bit of a story which might be interesting to you. I see from the ending of the talk how much Dr. Trey is enthusiastic about the American experiment and how lucky it is for us to have this experiment. Because America is a beacon of freedom for the whole world. France tried it and didn't succeed, but America did succeed because of the common sense of the founders. I'll tell you 3 little minutes of my life. One is from my aunt, who during the war worked as a nurse for all kinds of organizations, including one Nazi women's organization. What happened was Berlin was being bombed to hell, and also big party officials sent their families out into the country. Well, we are socialists. We should do the same for our women of Berlin. So a program was initiated for the women of Berlin to allow them to go with their children to the country. And my aunt was a nurse with that program. Well, we went all on a train to the country. She went once more to the train to make sure that everybody was aboard. There was a woman who left their children in the station, so they got aboard too, and they went off to the country. It didn't take long before a letter came in from a German sergeant. I cannot train my troops anymore. There are 2 women bathing in the nude, and my troops are so excited about it that I can't train them. Well, that got back to Berlin, and she went with a Nazi woman who she described as being fairly reasonable, considering, off to the village where they were staying. And they came into the hall filled with the women and a whole group of sailors. God knows what the sailors were doing there, but there they were. The Nazi woman stepped up on the stairway, she followed behind. From the floor, a man identified himself as a member of the secret police, Gestapo, and asked the sailors to leave. So they did. Then the women were asked to listen any complaints they had. Well, they were quite hesitant, but a few were offered, and after a while a number of them offered complaints about living in the country. Oh, then the meeting was closed, and my aunt got the privilege of examining every one of those women in the hall together, and he had to select 2 of the women who were uniformly bronzed. All the women who complained were sent back to Berlin with their children. The 2 women who bathed in the hall together also. And as these women were going back, they identified another woman who had sent her children back to Berlin, also back to Berlin. Apparently the thing cost some money, And even though money was being spent like crazy, this money was saved. So that was how the story of socialism for women in Berlin worked out. I want to tell a few stories of myself. The war started in 1939. Everybody was scared of it. There's an announcement in the newspapers. We had one small air raid. Later we had many more. And this one was still entertainment almost. We watched from the window. And the bomb fell close by us and it left the house in two. So a few weeks later, I don't remember the exact time, it was long ago, a friend of mine came, he copied a paper which was on a concrete column. Not as a regular thing, but somebody put it up secretly. And the whole crowd of people were standing around it, reading it. The essence I got out of it was that peace was possible. So we were all enthusiastic. We were going to copy it 100 times. At 8, 9 years of age, maybe that's a bit difficult, but we were going to. Then my mother came onto the scene, and we had to burn the paper, all the carbon paper we used already. Why? She was frightened as all hurt. That sort of thing can land you in execution squad in minutes. And there are stories to that effect. So later on the war got much worse. And I found out I was part Jewish, which made me scared shitless. And but still I felt like a German. So there was a movie show right after the death of Rommel. Some people there may not know who Rommel was. He was a popular German general who won some victories in the desert. He was respected by the British as a desert fox. He was also somebody Hitler favored. But he died, and it was a complication of illness or something. We know now that he had committed suicide because he was part of the Hitler blood. So there I was sitting in the movie watching the show of his funeral. When you watch it on YouTube, it's a powerful thing. Everything is unified, everything looks great. Whoever chose to show us the movie chose to show us the preparations also. People running around like cattle, chickens, with big white stripes on their pants and medals all over the place. And I looked at it and I said, geez, to myself. We always see such nasty things about the Allies, how evil they are, how evil everybody else is. What if we're as evil as we say they are? I got scared shitless by that. Just by thinking it. When I came to America, I knew I was coming to a prosperous country. I didn't know how important freedom here was. But even before America occupied Germany, I felt that we had a new atmosphere, that we could say what we thought, which we couldn't do before. And it took me a long time to learn what this was all about. And I think what it is, that the people treasure the Constitution in their hearts. And that's what makes this country different. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill. That was very powerful, very beautiful. We're so grateful to have you here today. And I'm so happy this is being recorded. We need to remember the stories and have them on film.